Good morning, everybody. Just getting everything set up. Now, I will tell you that I did work on the video camera again, and hopefully we won't freeze up today, but it's always a good chance that that'll happen. I thought I had it fixed, and then as I was setting up this morning, after quite a few moments, it froze again. So the fix that I thought I had for the camera just did not work the way I thought it would. It might have helped a little bit, but it definitely did not work as intended, but that's all right. No big deal. Anyway, so it is, I believe, Wednesday, January 30th, 2019, here in Michigan. It is currently 0 degrees outside, and I believe with the wind chill, we're at negative 17 degrees the way, at least about an hour ago, that's where it was at. Now, they say we're going to get to the negative 40s or 60s over the next 28 to 48 hours. So if you're here in the Midwest, the United States, stay warm, mother effers. If you just happen to stumble upon the page, to give you a little bit of a background of what's going on here. My name is Dave Bernard. I'm a 47-year-old fat man, and on January 4th of this year, I was supposed to have a umbilical surgery, and the surgeon, in so many words, basically said that I was too fat to have the surgery. And I'm an avid weightlifter, power lifter, something I enjoy doing. And so why that matters is because if I'm in the gym, I am going to lift weights. And so I'm also somebody who enjoys cycling, so I chose to go ahead and use my Raleigh Willard 2 gravel bike. I purchased a Wahoo Kickr 2018 model, and of course I'm using the Zwift app, and that is my goal, or not my goal, but that is going to be my method to losing weight. Now, you'll see the pictures on the right there, and that is my 2012 transformation. That is both a motivation for myself and, you know, a motivation to any of you that are out there wondering if it's something that's even possible. I currently weigh over 300 pounds, and I have to get to 244 pounds in order to have a BMI of 35, which is where the surgeon would like me to be. So, got that out of the way. Now today, like I said, the camcorder part of this is working okay right now, but I believe it'll eventually freeze up. And that is just, it is what it is. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, not only am I just getting back to exercising and using this, using Zwift and the Kickr and learning how all of that works, but I'm also learning how to stream at the same time. And obviously, being an old mother effer as I am, this is not something that, you know, I know anything about. So I'm just basically getting on YouTube, and as I have a question, I'm trying to look up the answer. Some of the answers that, some of the solutions that I'm finding ended up being things that are, you know, they're old. It's old answers, and it's for previous versions of the software. I'm using OBS software to capture my screen and connect the camera. I'm using a cam link by Elgato, which is hooked to a very old Canon Vixia HF 400. And the reason I'm using that camera, one, I own it, so that always helps with the decision. I didn't have to go out and purchase it, but it has a couple of things. You know, from a video standpoint, not related to this, it has a microphone in, so if you are making videos, that's kind of an important thing. Sound matters. But for the purpose of converting it to a webcam, which gives you a much better picture, it has a HDMI out, and so that can connect directly to the Elgato Cam Link and works just a lot better than a regular webcam. And again, I owned it, so if I didn't own it, maybe I would have went a different route. But one thing that a webcam doesn't do, even if the picture quality was the same, it doesn't give you the ability to zoom. And so it makes it a lot more challenging if you're trying to go that route with a green screen behind you, which is what I have. Now the green screen is something I also already owned back quite a few years ago when I was more curious about how things worked. I just happened to own one. The only thing I purchased this year was a stand, so it could be right behind the bike. But, you know, that was on Amazon, maybe $18. You'll notice a few other things right around me, my old before and after. One is the Raleigh logo, which I've already mentioned. I'm riding a Willard 2 gravel bike with a 9-speed cog, which our local bike shop went ahead and put that on the Kickr for me, where I purchased the Kickr. I also, let's see here, obviously the Oaf Life logo, which I am working on some Oaf wear. So anybody that understands what Oaf stands for, if you're interested in getting any of the wear, I know there's some issues right now on the finalization of the purchase, so it's not letting it go through, which is fine. I got to figure that out. Well, it may not be fine to you, but it's fine to me because I'm not trying to advertise a whole lot of this yet. So if you stumble upon me, just know that the Oafwear link on oaflife.com, that's coming along. And that stuff will be available soon. Above that is the First Form logo, which is the nutrition that I'm using. And so First Form is the nutrition I'm using. I am currently using one of their weight loss stacks. And I've used it before. I've only been on that for a couple of days, so of course no results to report. You've noticed, anybody follow me, that the junk brand is new, and it's not new as far as a product that I've used, but it is the headband that you see me wear most of the time. And so this headband is a junk brand headband, and I wear those because obviously I sweat, and it just keeps the sweat out of my eyes just like any other headband. And I like the brand, I like the headband itself. And I accidentally stumbled upon them because First Form, some of the wear that they have, they had a headband, and you've seen me wear that before, and it happened to be by this junk brand. Of course, I looked them up, and they had a lot of other cool pieces. So I only own a few of them right now, but so that's what that's all about there. And of course, you'll see the Wahoo logo on the bottom right. Wahoo is the trainer that I'm using, and I think that's about it. So we've had quite a few guys that have messaged me and said that they're on the same journey. Some of our other friends are out there from other countries, and they've got a lot of experience with, as it relates to the Zwift app, and so they've helped me along. Will was my first follower, and Though I don't have my keyboard in front of me to show you what the outfit I'm wearing, they're called kits. But he showed me how to, he sent me a link from Reddit that showed how to get other outfits. And there were some pretty cool ones out there. The one that I'm actually wearing is the beer something or other brand. And so you'll see me in different outfits here and there. If I had my other keyboard in front of me, I would at least be able to show you some of the different views, but like I said, we're just learning and getting things set up, and the more I can use things that I already have and not go out and make purchases, or at least for now, that makes the most sense. But in some cases, because I want the quality to be right, I am making the purchases as I see needed. For example, the cam link and adding my webcam was one of those purchases. And I recently purchased essentially a gaming desktop PC, only because it had the right hardware. Now, I used to be a Mac person all the way until my MacBook Pro took a shit on me, and when I took it to the Mac store, I don't know, let's just say that I wasn't happy. The experience wasn't that great, and so we've moved back to the PC world. And when I left PC world years ago, that was because during one of their updates, they destroyed my computer. It was kind of my fault, you know, but I was ticked off, and that's how I ended up in the Mac world, or Apple world. And but I don't think that even that was as malicious as I believe Apple is when it comes to what happened to my MacBook Pro. And so, without going into all of the wonderful details, I am back here with the PC world. And the funny thing is that being back here with the PC side of things, being back in the PC side of things, you know, having a desktop and a laptop now cost me essentially the same as, or actually less than what my MacBook Pro cost me. And I know technology's changed quite a bit over the years. So when I bought the MacBook Pro, it was quite a few years ago. But, you know, think about it. I own a mobile laptop that I'm able to take out on the job, meeting clients, and I have a very powerful desktop now. And the desktop isn't just powerful for streaming. I think that would be a little silly to think that that would be the only purpose that I would own it. It's also essential for video editing. Not that I can't video edit and render on my laptop, but one of the things that anybody that's done any kind of video editing will discover is that rendering, the amount of time it takes, is just insane. Now, I'd say the biggest challenge I've had switching from the Apple product or my MacBook Pro over to the PC world on video editing is I got very, very used to the program that I use for editing. They're essentially all the same, but I got very used to that product. Trying to remember the name of it, can't off the top of my head right now, but I got used to that product, and so trying to find something equivalent, and I'm willing to pay money for it, but that was a bit of a challenge. Well, I stumbled upon DaVinci software, which is a very professional video editing software, but for the purpose of most people that are at my level, it's free. You don't have to spend a dime. And even if you did go into the more professional level, it's not super expensive, but it is very, very powerful. Now, I downloaded it a long time ago and got overwhelmed by it, and so I deleted it. Now I'm back at it. I've downloaded it again because I've tried every single option you could possibly imagine, and they're all just as challenging, and from what the experts say, not as good. So, long story short, that's where I'm at. Now, if you're like most people, you'll notice that I am barely moving. So 10 miles an hour isn't very impressive, but that's because I'm just trying to get started. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting my body used to this. So my goal right now isn't to necessarily put my body through the rigors, is to get my body used to being on the bike for an hour. So I have a committed schedule right now of Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays around 7 a.m. Eastern Time, United States. And the goal is just to ride for an hour. So in this case, that's just under 45 minutes left to go. Eventually, I'll get to a point where I'm actually truly training, and I'm actually pushing my heart rate, the wattage on the bike, all of those things. But right now, it's just getting myself going. This right here that you see me keep adjusting, that is actually the heart rate monitor. Again, not something I purchased. It is something I had from years ago. It's a brand called, I think they pronounce it Mio. So it's M-I-O. And I believe that they're one of the originators of this technology. And I've measured it against other heart rate monitors, more traditional ones, and it's always stayed pretty close to exact. So I believe it does the job right. And the reason I wear it is really more to monitor my safety. As you can imagine, a fat F like me at over 300 pounds and 47 years old, 5'10", I mean, I have to be careful. So when I start reaching that 160, 170, 180 heartbeat, I've got to stop or slow it down. Obviously, I'm not even close to that right now, but my goal, as I've stated, for now is just move. Get my ass used to the seat, get my body used to riding for an hour again, and get everything calibrated, which it is not right now, and just move. Now, I will tell you, and anybody that wants to chime in or gets a chance to chime in, I would appreciate it. One of my other goals for this channel is to start actually having some meaningful conversations, either about worldviews, things going on in politics potentially, or more apt to what the name of the channel is, just starting to talk about things that are happening as an older person. And just have those conversations kind of planned out for each ride. So if it's a topic that you're interested in, or you have a strong opinion about, or just questions that you'll know that it's something you want to get involved in or watch, or like I said, chime in. So for an example, dating, let's say over 40, what that landscape looks like. Even potentially some more, I don't know, controversial topics that I have to deal with right now. So gender, how many genders are there? Sounds kind of silly, but I have 11 and 12-year-old daughters, and that is that's something we have to deal with right now in the discussion. And then the dangers of social media for our children or grandchildren. The dangers of even YouTube for those same kids. And so those are the kind of topics that I plan on scheduling And whether it's a different topic for each one of the rides, or whether it's a topic for maybe that week, we'll see. I don't have all the time in the world to prepare for things like that, but I think it would be dangerous not to have a little bit of preparation. And the inspiration, and when I say the inspiration, don't think that I feel like I'm even remotely equal to this person. But the inspiration for that is, one, I think it'd be pretty boring to watch me for 3 hours a week just ride. I also think that, so that would be one of the reasons. But the inspiration for this was a little bit of watching Louder with Crowder and his Change My Mind series. And I think it's very interesting. You know, now that guy is uber prepared for every discussion. And so even though I believe he wants to either change the mind of the person that's sitting down with him, or he truly wants somebody to change his mind, I think that it's not really fair for most people, because he's so well prepared that it's difficult for them to come in. I know nerves plays a part of it for some of the people that are, they're not dumb. They have their opinions for good reasons, but he just crushes them with facts. And then more times than not, the people that come in with their strong opinions don't really have any data to back it up. It's just their belief, and in my opinion, their manipulated belief. So they've let social media, the media, the news, they've let all of them guide their thoughts, and I think in a lot of cases unconsciously guide their thoughts. So it's sad, but even when you see, you know, these great technologies like Alexa and Siri and some of the things that Google does, when you start asking some of the questions and you start getting the editorial response and nothing factual, it's dangerous. I think that he had made a video where he was talking to Alexa, and he had asked, "Who is Jesus Christ?" And the response he got from Alexa was, "A fictional character." And that's dangerous, I think. That's not the answer or response that I believe Alexa should have gave. And I'm sure there's some super nerds out there in the world of Amazon that have probably jumped on board to try to fix that. Whew. Well, we've dropped a degree outside since we've been riding, and we've only been on the bike for just over 20 minutes, so it's dropping fast. On the real temperature, it's -1. You know, with the wind chill, I believe would be closer to -20 right now. Oh, I do have my laptop closer to me, so if anybody chimes in, I will actually be able to read it without the glasses on, so don't worry. I actually can see. I'm using a service called Restream. What Restream does is it actually allows me to stream to multiple sources. Right now I'm just streaming to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. I'm not a partner with either of them, so I'm not violating any terms to any partner agreements. So, which that was brought to me last week, that would be a potential issue in the future. But like I said, I'm not doing any of the things required to market this channel. Not saying I won't. I'm saying right now I'm not. And the reason I'm not is because I'm just trying to figure everything out. And before I start working on getting other people involved in it, as far as watching, chiming in, I want to make sure I've got the technical side of this taken care of. So, I've mentioned this quite a few times, but I will tell you, anybody out there that that's already out there on the Zwift app, or any other training app with the Wahoo Kickr or any other trainer that you're using, I highly recommend streaming, because for a couple reasons. One, it's a big distraction while you're riding, and so I've been riding for almost 25 minutes now, and it's not something I'm even thinking about. And if I was just listening to my headphones or just watching the app, I think I would notice the time a little bit more. So that's one of them. And that's the main thing. It's the distraction. It's the distraction of it. But I think that it also offers an opportunity to hold yourself accountable, and you know, you end up having other people, you know, really out there, you know, expecting you to be online. So the camera is still freezing up, and so I know I have a way to fix it, and that's why you'll see the Elgato logo every so often. I'm disappointed that the changes I made yesterday to everything didn't solve the problem, but again, that's why I'm not marketing this out to other people to really get involved. If you stumble upon it, that's awesome, and I appreciate it, but I'm not out there, you know, trying to get followers or anything like that until I truly know I've got it fixed. So could be a camera issue too. Might be something I have to get into the camera and fix. I have made some setting changes there. And that actually now I think about it, that might be it. I might have too high of a setting going on the video side inside of the camcorder itself, and that might be what's causing the glitch. I have made adjustments, so I'm not. What I didn't know before is that when you hook the Elgato up, the cam link, the settings are for 4K, and I don't have anything 4K in this whole setup. The computer could handle it, but you know, my monitor is not 4K, camera is not 4K, nothing I have is 4K. I would imagine if it's something required in the cable from the camera to the cam link, you know, I would assume that some of those are 4K, and they're not. Hey Will, I just noticed you messaged me. So we're not snowing right now, but man, the temps, we are -20, I think, right now with the wind chill. The actual temperature is just below 0 Fahrenheit, but we're -20. Now, I am supposed to go into work this morning, and pretty much everything here in Michigan is closed. So I'm not sure why I'm going, other than our owner has not decided to close the shop yet. So I actually have 2 jobs. One of which I can do from anywhere, which is my insurance agency. I don't have to go in. But because I am just getting that started over the last year and a half, I'm also working at one of my friends' car dealerships. And I don't know anybody's going to try to buy a car in -20, or I think we're supposed to get to -40 something over the next 24, 48 hours, which sucks, but we'll see. I guess if I can get there. My only concern with even going into work isn't the cold for me personally. It's keeping an eye on my house here and making sure that the pipes aren't freezing and all that. So what I'm going to end up doing is I need a fan. I'm a fat guy, Will. I need a fan. And the fan's actually just above my head. It's just a ceiling fan, so I'm sure you could possibly hear it. That's actually, if anybody ever noticed in my streams, what the heck are these little dots? Is it something on your screen or my screen? These are actually the pull cords for the ceiling fan above me, and I'm positioned there on purpose. So but Whew. Yeah, so anyway, so super cold out. My biggest concern is the temperature here in the house. So I think I'm going to take one of my security cameras and put it on directly on one of the weather monitors that I have inside here that also has stuff outside, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on there, and so I can look and check in on the house every so often. So as you'll see, the camera continues to freeze up, and because it's not the greatest picture in the world when it freezes every time, I go ahead and basically what I'm doing is deactivating it and then reactivating it. Now there are hotkeys that I could set up, but I don't have my keypad near me, so till I get another table, I just have to do it the way I'm doing it for now. But it's all part of the process. Yeah, we're climbing now. Oh man. Well, it would be nice to know that I didn't have to go in today, though I can tell you that I'm not looking forward to it. Only because there's no possible way we're going to have customers. I have a customer that's supposed to come in, but I don't know why they would at all. I don't see the point. Not even a little bit. Our governor, like I said, has made it a state of emergency. Hey, one thing that I've noticed, Will, and very obvious, it's hard to have a conversation with me because I'm reading the text, but for two things. One, I'm kind of semi-blind, so I don't actually, I'm guessing on whatever's being typed sometimes, but then I'm also distracted by the ride itself a little bit and all the technology that I'm trying to make sure works, that I don't tend to always read the entire text, and so my responses seem to be a little off. And when I go back and review the video, I notice that what you guys are typing and what I'm stating in my response is makes zero sense. So I apologize. Hopefully over the next few streams, months, whatever, everything will get good. Yeah, I see. I'm gonna have to work on that. I think that's a setting I can change for the delay, Will, but we'll see. And hey, thanks for the kits, for showing me how to get those. I didn't even know that was a possibility. And so when I stop here, which I need a little break anyways, you'll see the avatar pop up, and out of all the kits that I went through, I chose the bike and beer. It's now you got Zwift and you have got me curious as to how these companies actually create those different kits, because I wouldn't mind working on one of my own design if that's even possible. And I'm sure once I start looking into it, I'll find out that actually is something that's possible. So, but I like the bike and beer. There's a few other ones I liked, but they weren't very relevant to me. I used to ride Specialized bikes, and I really liked their kit, but I'm not riding Specialized right now. I'm wearing Specialized undershorts because I like them more than any other brand right now, and That's a challenge that I also have, is a lot of this cycling gear, it isn't meant for 300-pound dudes. And yeah, you can buy some big boy stuff, but the quality's not the same and the padding's not the same. So I found that for my cycling shorts, the Specialized ones, they're about $50, are the best for me. I could also see myself eventually getting a different seat. We'll see. Specialized makes a really nice seat out there that I think would be a little bit more comfortable for me. We'll see. Is that so? So switching to metric, huh? That's interesting. Well, there we go. We froze up again. This is just a good excuse for me to take a break, I think. Maybe the exercise gods are just saying they know I need a little break, so they're just freezing the camera up, so I'll stop for a sec. I doubt it. So another part of the the whole purpose in this training is for me to lose weight and to do it in a way that's safe for me. And cycling right now is probably the safest outside of walking. And I enjoy cycling. I enjoy this process that I'm in. But an update on my weight, I haven't lost any. Not sure what I ate yesterday. I'll have to think about it. But I'm between losing around 4 pounds to being back up to the 213 pounds that I started. Now I bet you when I jump off of this, it's not going to read the same. So it's a digital scale. It's old. It's always a possibility that there's something wrong with it. But even the other day, I weighed myself quite a few times, and the first time I got on, it was 212 pounds, or I'm sorry, 312 pounds. And by the time I got on it 3 or 4 more times after that, it was all the way down to like 308. So it's always a chance that when I first got on this morning, I was pissed though, by the way. I'm like, there's no possible way that I put a couple pounds or a few pounds back on. But this isn't you'll hear a lot of people say, don't weigh yourself every day. I don't agree with that personally. I think you should weigh yourself twice a day personally, especially when you're in this process that I'm in. And when I stated, I stated from an opinion of experience. Not only do you see my 2012 transformation, you can see I've been down this path before, but I happen to have an exercise science degree where I concentrated on physiology from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. So, not to mention I started doing all this when I was around 12 years old. So I have a good understanding of how everything should work. So when I say weigh yourself more than once a day, especially during the process of weight loss, it's because it's easy to figure out what mistakes you may have made that day and how they affected you, as opposed to, you know, weighing yourself once a week or once a month and then almost not even having a clue. So as I think about yesterday, how that could have happened, I guess, again, overeating, not necessarily eating things that are bad for me, but now that I think about it, I did overeat at lunchtime yesterday. So there you go. Now I am starting, and it's only been 2 days now, I did start in on one of the first phorm weight loss systems. And so it's going to be a good test to see how that helps or doesn't help. I'm always pretty honest about my opinion as far as whether or not a product works or not. Matter of fact, back in 2012, it was one of those network marketing companies that my friend was a part of. I didn't even know it at the time. or multi-level marketing, MLM. And he introduced me to that product that he was representing. And I'd seen a lot of the results that they were posting. Of course, that could always be bullshit. And so what I told him when I first started using the product was, listen, man, if this works, I'll tell everybody for you. And oh, by the way, if it doesn't work, I'll tell everybody. And we had grown up together, so we had quite a few different friends, so like that threat meant something. Well, it worked. I mean, the products worked for me. Now, I didn't like a lot of the company that was making those products, but the products themselves and the weight loss system, for me, that worked. So that was cool. And I think there was a lot of things that helped it work. One, I was going to give it my all, and I was going to follow it exactly the way it was stated to be used, the system itself, because I didn't want to go out and tell people something didn't work if in fact it was truly me that didn't do it. You know what I mean? So I didn't want there to be the excuse of I really just didn't follow it, or I couldn't follow it, or whatever. So I was committed to that, to almost proving that it wouldn't work. And so I'm at the mindset that anything that you choose to try, you just got to do it. Any company, any product line, anything that you just decide you want to try for whatever reason, it should work in most cases. Now, there are some silly products out there that just don't, but even if you follow their system, good chance you're still going to lose the weight. So if you're exercising, and a lot of these systems out there, believe it or not, are just a reduction in calories from what your body's used to taking in. And so just by following their system alone, and that reduction in calories and that increased activity results in weight loss. So yeah, well, I'm actually getting a huge delay, so I can see, even though I'm blind, that you commented somewhere, that you just commented, but it is not showing up over here on my laptop at all. So I do apologize if I'm not responding. But so yeah, I mean, First Phorm is the product line I'm using now, and there's a lot of reasons that I'm doing that. One, I was accepted into their program, which isn't something they do for everybody. And what I mean by that is being one of the representatives. And honestly, the reason that they got me in was because of my before and after from 2012. Normally, somebody that's in my current physical condition wouldn't be somebody they wanted to represent their company. So I appreciate their faith in me, that I'll actually follow the process and the recommendations of the products that I'm using. Now, I do have a printed out form that I'm following for the kit that I'm using, but I've done this so long that I don't necessarily need it. The only thing I have that I have to use is I have an alarm set on my phone to remind me in the afternoon to take some of the products. And so I don't want you to feel like it's any magic pill or anything either. A lot of it's just supplementation, and it's keyed in for the purpose that I'm using it. Most of their products are actually intended for bodybuilders, athletes, CrossFit athletes, other endurance athletes, things like that, sprinters. I mean, there's a lot of benefits, and when you look at a lot of their products, name-wise and what they are, it's very similar to other stuff that's out there. But what I like about First Phorm is their commitment to the quality of the product itself. And so they're sourcing the right product. The process in which they're making it matters to them. They're doing it the right way. And there's a lot of supplements out there that in my experience, they don't work because they're garbage. So it might say, let's say, a protein powder, but just the process alone of which it's made makes it not very useful. So it's almost a waste taking some of those products, in my opinion. But the proof's in the pudding, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if we're a year down the road and I haven't done much, I haven't changed much, and it won't take a year, within a few months, if there's no major drastic change, well then guess what? Either I didn't use them right, or they don't work. So as a supplementation, that's really the reason I take supplements, is for them to assist in my achieving my goals and to give me the right nutrition. So, for example, there's different shakes, smoothies, other things like that, protein shakes. They're not all the same, by the way. There are certain ones out there that are considered meal replacement. And really what that, in a nutshell, means is that the nutrients inside of that product are hitting some of the macronutrients that your body needs. Well, it's very easy to let's say, just eat chicken, you know, and not eat a whole lot of other fruits and vegetables when you're on, you know, some kind of crazy diet. Well, it's obviously not good for you. Your body's not going to appreciate the fact that it's being starved nutritionally. And so meal replacement shakes will actually come into play and give you that nutrition that your body needs. And at least, and so for me, even back in 2012, when I would get down to eating on some of the days only one chewing meal a day, I would have a couple of snacks, usually 2 to 3 snacks a day that I would chew. But then the other 2 meals were these meal replacement shakes. Man, I felt great. I had tons of energy. I never felt like I wasn't getting it, and it obviously worked. Now, I've not kept it any secret for anybody that transformation in 2012, one of the main reasons I was successful, at least in my mind, was that I was also unemployed at the time. So all I had to do was worry about my diet and my exercise, because it didn't take a whole lot of time each day to work on getting the job, on applying for different jobs. That didn't take a lot of time. So that was part of the reason I was so successful so quick back then. Also, it's funny because I was explaining this to my 12-year-old daughter when she was talking about the difference between now and then. And she was referring back to this before and after picture, and I said, you know, there's a lot of bullshit involved in before and after pictures, whether it be this one from me or anybody else. And let me explain. So I took several pictures of that before, probably 4 or 5 of them. So they all look the same as far as my body is concerned. This one represented the fat on me the best as far as my belly went, and I'm not sure why it got cut off there on the one side. But the difference between this picture and the other 4 was this one I wasn't smiling, and no smirk, no nothing. I kind of looked bummed. The other ones I had a bit of a smile going on. So that would be the bullshit of the before picture, not the fat. I'm not pushing my belly out. I'm not anything. It's just I chose the one that I looked sad, and that was purposeful. And then the bullshit of the after picture is that I was mid-workout at a gym in Port Huron, Michigan, Cutting Edge, which I love that gym. If you're ever in Port Huron, Michigan, go check out Cutting Edge. It's a large gym, great people, and A lot of fun to work out there. Well, I was mid-workout. I went into the locker room to use the restroom, and as I was walking back out, there's a big long mirror there, and I was like, man, I look pumped right now. And where I stopped, there was just happened to be that light right above my head, and of course the shadows are all part of that. And I just snapped a picture real fast. And later on that day, I pulled that picture back up, and I was like, God damn, man, that's a good one. And so that was my after picture. And I don't think that it's different from anybody else. I wasn't purposely trying to stage anything. I just happened to look and say, holy shit, Of course, I was just in the middle of an arm workout, so the arms are pumped. It does represent that I lost a ton of weight. But both pictures are the best representation of that particular time. One shows the before, and the manipulation on that one is the fact that I looked sad. I'm not a sad person necessarily, so that would be the bullshit of that. And the bullshit on the after one is the fact that I was in the middle of a workout, and that's not how I walked around every day. I didn't walk around pumped every day, every minute of every day. So I guess that what I'm saying there is, be careful, especially of any of the models out there. They're all dieted down for that modeling thing. I don't have to tell you that, but it's something that should be reminded. So though it's motivational that it's possible, don't get super hung up on it. I think that one of the best measurements for us guys, and I've done this before, I'm not doing it right now, and I actually should be doing it, is I went out and purchased, this is, I don't know, a couple years ago, I purchased a rawhide, a belt that was like a tan, like rawhide belt, and I started marking it up with dates. And what that was measuring was obviously my waist circumference, because for me, that's the part that matters, or that's the most dangerous, is having that visceral fat. And so instead of the scale, my entire journey when I tried to do this a couple years ago, was to just work on my waist. At my smallest there in 2012, and I will tell you that the pants were tight, but I put on a size 36 waist pair of pants. There's a picture of me with my friends and it's got Success magazine cover, and I was wearing, we were going to a white party and I didn't have any white pants, and so a friend of mine had a size 36 pair of shorts that I put on his. Now again, they were tight. They weren't super tight. They were tight on me, but that's the smallest waist I've had in the last 30 years, or 20 some years, I would say. And I think that's around the size that I used to wear as a young man. Was 36, probably in my best physical condition of my adult life. I think I was maybe a 32-inch waist in high school, but 36 when I was an athlete in my early 20s. And so that was a big deal for me. I unfortunately wear anywhere from a 42 to a 46-inch waist in my fatness. So anyways, the belt thing, measuring just through a belt, I really like that idea that I had. And I can even today, wherever it's at, it's over here somewhere, I can put that belt on even today and kind of get an idea of where I'm at. Which actually brings me back to one of the dangers I think of that people fall into. Probably women more than men, but wearing stretchy pants is what I call it. So back when I was unemployed and I was going through that weight loss, I'd wear sweatpants pretty much, sweatpants, shorts, whatever. I didn't have to dress up for anything. And what happened was, into 2013, I started working on bulking up. Well, I didn't recognize that I was gaining fat around my waist because I was wearing these gym shorts and stuff all the time. And I mean, it was months before I put a pair of regular jeans or slacks on, and when I went to put them on, they didn't fit. And I was like, uh-oh. Now, unfortunately, all I did was just went out and bought bigger pants, which was shitty because I had given away all of my clothes back in 2012, all my fat clothes, and then within a year I needed some of those back. But hey, whatever. Yeah, so you were 36 also. So yeah, 80 pounds and 20 years ago. We're probably about the same, Will. I would say that if I get down, maybe not 244, but if I can get down into the 230s or 220s, that's probably where I would end up being, is in that 36-inch waist area, which is, I mean, which is a healthy circumference for me as far as visceral fat goes. And that is the killer. I mean, science will tell you that's the killer. And so outside of the scale, BMI, and everything else, getting that fat off your waist and off my waist is without question got to be the goal. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that my blood sugar will be under control, that my heart will be in better condition, my cholesterol levels will be controlled. I mean, all of the things that are out of control right now should be within control. My blood sugar level will be more controlled. Oh man. So there's a lot of good reasons to shoot for that, but I'm not going to get hung up. I mean, if I'm a 38-inch waist and everything else is under control, I don't really care. And when you're getting closer to 50 years old like I am, I mean, yeah, body image matters some, depending on you as a person, but in the big picture, it doesn't matter at all. So one of the things that you missed, Will, earlier that I was talking about before he jumped on is I'm going to start, once I get all the technical side of this figured out, I'm going to start, obviously, a schedule. I'm going to post a schedule out there of that's cool, man. We got a lot in common. Anyways, I'm going to start scheduling this, even though I've already committed to it verbally that right now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to be riding around 7 a.m. I'm going to start also scheduling either topics to discuss during the week or potentially even each day having a different topic. Some of which will be related to the oaf side of things, which is the old as F side. So for instance, you know, dating over 40 and what that looks like these days. You know, our children, the things that they're going through with social media and the dangers of even just YouTube and things like that. So I kind of plan on having those kind of discussions in the stream, just to make it more interesting and not just some boring thing of me riding. And the inspiration for that is the Louder with Crowder series called Change My Mind. I thought it's kind of interesting. I'm not saying I'm going to emulate or copy him, but the idea of having these kind of topics and discussions, especially for people that are getting older, I think is relevant to the channel, and will keep the stream interesting. And of course, I want to be semi-prepared for those discussions, and then of course I want everybody's opinion as we're going through it. So I think that'll make things, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't want to get it so controversial that it turns into an argument. But I think there's some things that matter these days, that we can discuss. Like I said, for me, dating in my 40s sucks, by the way. You know, and I don't want to go through the whole topic at this point, but I'm at an age where I don't want to go to the bar. I was never really much of a drinker. When I did drink, I drank to the extreme to where I would just get drunk and it wasn't an enjoyable thing. So for drinking for me was never about just casually drinking. It was always just get drunk when I did it. So not much of a drinker. So I don't like I don't go to the bars. I'm also tone deaf, and I've been tone deaf most of my life. And so I don't like being in a bar anyways, because I can't hear what the hell's going on. I don't even know what people are saying to me most of the time. And so it's frustrating. So anyway, so I don't go to a bar. I also don't go to a church. And so the two places that you would most commonly, I think, meet people, I don't do. So that leaves you to online dating. And online dating, unfortunately, is dumb. And we'll get into that discussion one of these days. So there's just a lot of topics out there, such as the number of genders. It's a discussion that I'm unfortunately having to have with a 12-year-old, my daughter. And so we'll get into all of those one of these days. That's kind of my idea. Or we might not. We might just let me just talk as much as I want about whatever the hell I want. And we'll go from there. Or I may just let the crowd decide what we're going to talk about. But anyways, well, there you go. I rode for an hour. Didn't die. And yeah, you know, there are a lot of ladies at the gym. But I know this is dumb, but that's kind of a creepy thing. Most people don't go to the gym to hit on people. And when I used to at least be at the gym lifting, I didn't want the distraction or anybody interrupting that workout either. So I don't disagree that the commonality would be there. But it's in bad taste, I think, for most people to use the gym as a place to pick up the ladies. So I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I also don't plan on going to the gym until after I have this surgery. And the way that I plan on doing the surgery right now is to do it probably next January. Now, it's possible I'll do it before then, but from an insurance standpoint, it makes sense to wait till next January. Just because I will have met my deductible the minute I have that surgery. And it's logical, unless it's an emergency and I have to have it beforehand, it's logical for me to have that surgery, use all of the deductible, and have the rest of the year just in case something actually happens. Now, if something happens, yeah, you're right. I doubt people go to church to hit on people, but it's more of a natural conversation. It's not that you would go there to hit on somebody. It's that I think that people at a church, and this is just my idea, is that a person at a church when they meet somebody it's pretty obvious that you're single. I think that you would naturally start to have a conversation and get to know each other in a more natural way than you would anywhere else. So that's why I bring up the idea of the church. If there was any other social gathering, it could be bingo. It could be anything else out there. That you could be in a place where it's obvious that you're single and you may have that common interest. Now, I have done bingo a few times, not to meet people, but just because I wanted to see what it was all about. It's pretty funny. Bingo is a funny thing. It's not something in your 20s you would consider, but in your 40s, especially Generation X, as I am, it's funny. To me, it's a comical thing to watch some of these people just get insanely crazy about it. So if you've never went to bingo, I'm not saying you need to make it your life commitment, but I think it'd be, if you haven't done it, do it. It's funny. And you can go to your local dollar store and pick up all the stuff you need, and I've done that. I think I have less than $20 invested. When we have went to bingo, by the way, I don't even know why I'm talking about this shit, but when we ever went to bingo, by the way, I don't spend more than $20 when I go there. So it's not something that's expensive. But anyway, so these are some of the discussions that we may start planning, or I may start planning for my rides, just to make it a little more interesting than watching me just ride along and all that. So I'm always open to opinions, so if anybody has any, leave them in the comments. And anyways, that is the end of the ride. It is currently negative 2.4 degrees outside, and with the wind chill, it is around negative 20 still. So everybody stay warm, have a great day, and we will stream at you later.